Hey everyone, long time no see. I'm McLoughlin with my fabulous co-host Cam Stuart. This is another episode of Inside of Sports Access. We can't wait to dive in today. Cam, how you doing, buddy?
I'm ready to be back. I'm glad to be back. I'm ready to get this thing rolling. It's been a long time, lacrosse season, we've been away, but I'm really ready to be back here. Always a great time here at Women Hanson Cable Access. Let's get this thing rolling.
All right. Well, last time that we saw you, which has been a while, we were talking about how we're getting both seniors and just graduated, getting ready to go to college. Now, Cam and I both consider ourselves as pretty, big 5-star recruits for, communication schools. Now, if you see on Cam's desk, he has 3 hats. And now we're going to present Cam's going to make his choice of what college he will be attending in the fall.
Well, I do have 3 hats in front of me, 3 schools that are very near and dear to my heart. We have the University of Texas, which is one of my father's many alma maters, and Texas football especially has always been a big thing for me growing up, and I've always thought of myself as a Texas Longhorn. And in the middle, we have Baylor University, which is located in Waco, Texas, for those of you who don't know. And in the past few years, I've really gained an interest in it, and beautiful campus down there in Waco, Dr. Pepper capital of the world. Would probably help if I liked Dr. Pepper, but that's definitely a big factor, but who cares? And Texas Christian University down in Fort Worth, also very near and dear to me. Last June, I went to a 2-week journalism conference at the Bob Schieffer School of Journalism, and great campus, great people there, made a lot of great memories there. But it's time to make a decision. And I've decided that I will be taking my talents to the Dr. Pepper capital of the world, Baylor University, located in Waco, Texas. Sick 'em Bears, baby.
Congratulations, Cam. How was the process of making this decision?
Well, I always loved the state of Texas. Growing up a Texas Longhorns fan, I didn't want to follow in my dad's footsteps. So, I don't know, really. It's tough to say. I sort of been watching Baylor football as they've rose to prominence the past couple of years, and Baylor basketball led by Scott Drew. And I don't know, I just sort of fell in love with the heritage. It's got so many traditions, the oldest running university in the state of Texas. And I went down there and fell in love with it. And just great campus, great people, and great atmosphere. And I just think it was just enough over TCU because I really did love TCU as well.
All right, well, congratulations on that decision. All right, so now I guess it's my turn. So after a long, hard decision of trying to figure out where I wanted to go, I decided that I'm going to go to school in New York, but you don't know which one yet. I will be attending SUNY Onondaga in Syracuse, New York. I will be working with their lacrosse team, who has won 105 straight games, 8 national titles at the junior college level, and will be attending that school for 2 years and then transferring to another communication school. So, it was a hard decision, but it was the best one for me. Great campus, great athletic teams to cover. Because that was an important part of my decision was good teams, because I don't want to cover a school that has crappy athletic teams. And a big opportunity to get more into the lacrosse field. That's one of my favorite sports to cover.
Great pipeline to Syracuse University, another great communication school. And we're going to college, people, just so you know.
Yep. So thank you for, we were looking forward to making our decisions. We had this date circled for a long time.
We know you guys have had your date circled too. You guys have been waiting a long time for this.
All right, so let's go into what they really wanted to hear us talk about. Now let's talk about some sports. Even though we are fabulous, we are amazing. Let's dive into some sports. You want to start us off?
Gladly. Well, every 4 years we get to see the World Cup, and obviously last year was so great with the United States doing very well in the Men's World Cup. But this year, starting last week, we had the start of the Women's World Cup, one that the U.S. is actually expected to win. And for those of you who don't love World Cup soccer, that's because you haven't watched it yet. And we're going to start with this. The women with a great game just a few days ago, a 3-1 win over Australia. Megan Rapinoe with 2 goals. and it was actually the biggest watched group stage game in the history of the World Cup. And I just think that was a product of what happened with the U.S. last year and everyone sort of getting on board with U.S. soccer. And it really is a great tournament. And I'm really hoping the ladies can win it because they were so close last time.
They came so close last time, so close. And you hear a lot of the players talking about how that game was one of the biggest games that will haunt them 4 years ago, losing to Japan in the final. So I think that if they can continue to do well as they did in the second half of the first game, as I should say, the first half
they did struggle a little in the first half.
A little struggle. But if they continue to do as well as they are expected to do, I really think that they have no problem winning this World Cup. It's great that they're only just over the border in Canada, close. So if you have a passport and you have free time, I would say definitely head up to Winnipeg or Vancouver and check out the U.S. Women's National Team. Let's talk about how the men's team is for a second. How well they've done in their 2 matches this past week.
Even during the Women's World Cup, the men have stolen the show. I mean, we hate to say it, but the U.S. men's national team, as you said, 2 big wins in the past week or so. The first one in the Amsterdam Arena, they beat Netherlands, who finished 3rd in the World Cup last year. They were down 3-1 in the 70th minute. They ended up scoring 2 in the last, I believe, 5 minutes to win 4-3. Big time win. And then, not to be outdone, they go to Cologne, Germany yesterday, which playing the world champions, it's going to be tough. They didn't have most of their starters out. Germany didn't, but so did the United States. And it was sort of B team against B team, but I mean, still, you expect the world champions to play better than they did. And the U.S. really dominated the second half. And Bobby Wood scoring late in the game to give them a 2-1 win, their first ever win on German soil after their first ever win on Dutch soil. So a big week for the U.S. as their World Cup campaign starts for 2018, and they'll start the Gold Cup next week, or a couple weeks till the start of the Gold Cup.
Yeah, with the Gold Cup coming, actually we'll be making a stop through Gillette Stadium
10th versus Haiti.
Yeah, actually Insider Sports Access will be there covering the tournament. Just there, just in Foxborough. We can't travel anywhere else. We don't have that funds, unless you want to give us the funds. But
always welcome.
Yeah,
always welcome for funds.
Yeah. So if you want to, that. But we're excited. I think that this is the increase of popularity of soccer in the United States just within the last year. Say at the beginning of the months leading up to the World Cup last year, has really drastically changed, and it's a totally different landscape now. You're getting people who never used to care about watching soccer, might have watched the World Cup game last year, and end up now hooked. They're obsessed.
Myself included. That was more with the 2010 World Cup I got hooked. But yeah, I mean, so many fans have gone in the past year, and they just can't shake it. I mean, it's tough. It's tough because I think American fans love atmospheres, and there's really no atmospheres like those in soccer, especially with the American Outlaws being established and creating such a good home field advantage. I mean, it really is. It's the beautiful game. It's great to watch.
Yeah, I've been covering a lot of soccer as of late. We're going to segue over a little bit. I've been covering a little bit of the National Women's Soccer League, the Boston Breakers in particular, and even to get more specific, our hometown hero, Christy Mewis, who has actually been having quite the season. After struggling with injuries and kind of an off year last year, she went to Japan, played professionally over in Japan over the winter, and has come back and been one of the best players in the league this year. Getting cut from, not making the 23-woman roster, I should say, not men roster, for the national team to go to the World Cup. She's had the ability to lead the Breakers right now as they are 3rd in the standings. The Breakers have only lost 2 players to the World Cup, as other teams like FC Kansas City, Seattle Reign, Portland Thorns, they have lost upwards of 5 or 6 players on each team. So they're really right now have been gaining the momentum in the last 2 or 3 games when they have had most of their players here. They're not really relying on the amateur players that will come in during the World Cup break. They have risen to the occasion. Mewis right now has 2 goals, and both of them are game-winning goals. Has had up a lot of chances. I believe she has 7 or 8 assists right now. She's sitting at the top in assists for the league right now, and I think that she's been 10 times the better player than she was last year. One of the premier players in the National Women's Soccer League, and I think that the Breakers, if they continue to enjoy the success on their new home, get some road wins, I think they have a real legitimate shot of winning the league. So I know Cam might not know that much about the team, but any input?
It's great to see them doing well, them and the Revolution, especially coming off the year the Revs had last year. It's always good to grow the game, sort of, as we've talked about how much we like soccer. It still is growing, and it's great to see both the teams doing pretty well over here in Boston.
Yeah,
Thanks, bro.
They've been doing really well. We went up to Rochester earlier this year to see Sam and Kristen Mewis play. They actually will be playing back here in July 28th. The Western New York Flash and Sam Mewis will be returning to Boston for the first time this year, and it will be Sam's homecoming against her sister. That's definitely a game to watch. I was actually talking to a representative at the Breakers. They can fit about 4,000 people in their stadium. They're on top of you there. They've already sold 3,500. There's only about 500 tickets or so left for that game, so they are going really hot. It could be the first sellout in Breakers history at the new, since they moved over to Harvard, and I think that will be probably one of the most watched games. I heard there might be some ESPN cameras there, possibly.
Well, it is well deserved, I'd have to say. Well deserved for those 2 girls. Conflict of interest, I'd have to say.
Yeah, I think I'll keep myself separated enough, but covering the team, it's been good. So let's hope, good luck to the Breakers the rest of the season, and let's hope that they can make the best of it. It'd be fun to watch, a local team around here make a nice postseason run that you don't usually see make runs. So it's up to you, Cam. What do you want to talk about next?
Well, as many of you know, I live and die with every pitch a Red Sox pitcher throws, which is a lot this season. And their struggles have certainly been a big topic in New England with all the other sports teams, their seasons being over. Well, the major ones. I'm not trying to knock the Breakers at all. But I don't see how this team is going to be able to turn it around anytime soon because they don't have any pitching. It sounds like a broken record, but a team like in 2013 when they went worst to first, they had big-time top-of-the-rotation pitching. And listen, there's absolutely no way Justin Masterson should be making the money he's making because he's not a starter. That's starter's money, and he's a long reliever, and that's the first of their problems. But if a pitcher slumps, this is how I look at it. If a pitcher slumps, he slumps every 5th day. And you can even skip a start if he's really that bad. If a hitter slumps, he slumps every day. And they only have hitters. And their hitters are slumping every single day. And I just don't see how the Red Sox are going to turn around anytime soon. But I've been fooled before by this team many a time, actually. So we'll see how they do in the coming weeks here. They need to get on a roll. Like the Bruins never did this season. They need to win 8 or 10 in a row, something like that, just to get them going.
Yeah. I feel like being a Red Sox fan can never, ever be an easy thing.
Never.
It never has, never has, and never will. The Red Sox are, they're good. It's great when they're good, and when it's bad, it's bad.
Which we've seen a lot of lately the past few years here, other than the World Championship. But even then, it wasn't that easy. As good as they were, I guess it's just how much we put into it.
Yeah. Well, maybe a little upside towards the future is a local player, actually, from Bridgewater Raynham, just down 18. Andrew Novello of Bridgewater Raynham was selected in the 25th round, 741 overall, to the Boston Red Sox. Growing up just about half hour from the stadium, I was talking to Andrew the other day at the Super 8 games, and he was ecstatic that he was picked by the Red Sox. What can be much better than going to play for the team you've grown up rooting and watching for?
I don't think there's any bigger thrill than that. Growing up as a Red Sox fan, you know how passionate we Red Sox fans are, and I was blown away when I saw the news, just thinking what that kid must be feeling right now. I mean, just waiting on the day when I get drafted by the Red Sox, but I think his day is going to come a little quicker. Well, it has. But I just think that must be so incredible. One of my favorite Red Sox of all time was Tony Conigliaro, who grew up in Swampscott and Revere and went to St. Mary's of Lynn. And, you see the smile on his face whenever he played in the Red Sox uniform. And if it's anything like what Tony C. described it as, it's got to be one heck of a feeling.
Yeah, and all signs are pointing towards him turning pro instead of bypassing his commitment to the University of Maine. I think that would be his best choice for him if you definitely don't want to risk losing your draft spot with the Red Sox. I think that would be the best decision for him. But best of luck to whatever he does. I know.
It's a pretty good offer to turn down, isn't it?
Yeah. Play for the Red Sox or go to college, full scholarship. I don't know. Those both sound good, but I think I'd go to the Red Sox.
I'd
No problem.
probably go with the Red Sox as well. I'm with you on that one.
Pretty much. Yeah, so unlike the Red Sox, some of the other major league teams have been doing quite well. We've got the Yankees doing pretty well, unfortunately.
Just snapped the 7-game win streak, but they've been playing out of their minds this season. I thought they could be the last place team in the American League East, as bad as it was. I just didn't think they had the pitching, and I just didn't know. I didn't think Masahiro Tanaka was going to have the season he had coming off the surgery, but he's been as good as they've needed him to be. They've just been playing together like we saw from the Red Sox in 2013. They're just a team that knows how to win right now.
Yeah, they definitely are a team that knows how to win. Another team that I would say does know how to win is the Houston Astros this year. The self-proclaimed, or what was it, ESPN, I believe.
Sports
Illustrated called them the 2017 World Champions.
Cover story,
but they could make a run to be this 2015 World Champions, maybe a little bit earlier than expected after all those years that I would say it was worse being an Astros fan than it was being a Red Sox fan.
Oh, much worse, because, they were just god-awful. And that was such a radical thing for them to do, to be that bad and get the farm system going, get the draft picks. But, I just think they're too young to know they're not supposed to win in Houston, that's a dead area, and it's the oldest franchise never to win a World Series. You hit it right on the head. That's another team who just knows how to win baseball games right now, and they're just getting it done. And I could see them definitely as a playoff team. World Series, but who can second guess this game? It's tough.
The entire landscape is been amazing. And I'm looking at this baseball. It's in front of me right here, and it says "the best," and it's a picture of the Boston Globe newspaper, and it's the Red Sox celebrating the World Series. Just thinking, why can't that be the Red Sox this year? And you just what does the organization need to do to get back to that?
Get some pitchers. That's what they need to do. We all knew it was a bold move to do the whole 4 somewhat ace-type pitchers, and it's just. It couldn't have failed harder than it has so far, but you knew it wasn't going to be what they expected. And, Masterson was obviously terrible. Just a guy who can't throw fastballs doesn't have a put-away pitch, and he can't throw a fastball for the life of him. And with Joe Kelly, I thought was going to be their best pitcher this year, and he's just been dreadful the past couple weeks. And Porcello, I saw today in his last 4 starts, he's had 20 earned runs. That's terrible. And, Clay Buchholz has had his ups and downs, but he's actually tied for second in the league in quality starts, and he's been pitching really well the past few. But they could figure it out, and their bullpen has been decent enough, but I don't see it. I just don't see it. I think they really need to make a push for some free agent pitchers next year so they don't have to give up a guy like Betts or Bogarts or Henry Owens.
Yeah, I definitely think they need to really, really reevaluate what they're doing over there. Let's shift over to we're not gonna talk about Deflategate. All right, that's done. That's over with. We are not talking about that.
God.
You want to go listen to that? Go watch another show because we're not talking about it here. But let's talk about some other Patriots news. I heard Malcolm Butler missed practice a couple weeks back due to missing his flight in Atlanta. It got pushed back and has actually not been able to see the field. Belichick has kept him off the field for the last 3 weeks at training camp. Thoughts on that?
I think it's good. I think it's good that they did, that Bill set him down. And, listen, Malcolm Butler, undrafted free agent, he's a really humble guy, and he's taken this really well from what the public eye has seen since the interception. And just a little slip up. I mean, still his fault, but I think they do need to keep him grounded, down to earth, because he could be, as scary as this may sound, he could be a big part of their secondary this year, him and Logan Ryan as your shutdown corners. But, I mean, I think it is good that they grounded him the same way they kind of grounded Brandon Spikes with that whole incident.
Well, Brandon Spikes kind of got the boot, though, because...
Yeah, deservedly so. I mean, they're not going to take a chance on one of those Florida guys. Again, we saw what happened the last time. A rumor somewhat like that came out with a certain tight end from Florida. I think it's good that they gave him the boot pretty early because they didn't want to deal with that again. And he's honestly not worth it.
You just think about, talking about Brandon Spikes for a second. His car had front end damage. It was left on, nobody around. Another car in the same area had back end damage. Same time, same area. Oh, but I hit a deer. Oh, okay. You think that everybody in Massachusetts is that stupid?
To come to his defense, it is tough to see when you're driving drunk and you don't have your lights on, okay? He may have thought it was a deer, but maybe not that good an excuse for him. Maybe not. This guy, and he put a picture on Instagram, what was it, 2 weeks ago of him in that car? And it was like, oh my. You going to try and leave it at the scene now after you've done that? God.
Yep, he's not the
University of Florida education, man. Wow.
So, do not go to the University of Florida for an education. I think that's the whole moral of the story. That might be what it is.
Get ready for the fan mail from Florida.
Get
ready for it. They're going to be piling in.
That's why we do not put our address on top of, at the end of this. But if you can find us and write us some hate mail or fan mail,
I'll read it aloud on the show.
Exactly.
That's what I'll do.
We'll do it. And I will personally send you a letter back, autographed, everything. We got you. Cam and I will take care of it.
We got you covered. Yeah. If you got the time and the effort to do that, yeah, totally.
So there's so much to talk about, so little amount of time. I don't know. What do you want to pick? I'm just letting you pick what we talk about today.
Well, I think an interesting story that came out, while it is a small rumor, that Jack Eichel was actually, when he was asked if he were to come back to Boston University or go to the pros. Now, it seemed like a done deal. Number 2 pick overall. Why wouldn't you go to the pros? But he was, and this may have been taken out of context. I don't know. I haven't read too much into it. But the quote did say he's got some unfinished business at Boston University. I'd have to agree with him on that. I was at the national championship game, and as much as I love Matt O'Connor, he stars in my nightmares now. And if Jack Eichel, the slim 10-on chance that Jack Eichel comes back, BU would be even more dangerous team than they were going into this, and it would be unbelievable to see. But the bottom line is he's probably going to be Buffalo Sabre, and I really don't like the Buffalo Sabres. I'm going to have to buy a Sabre shirt, and it's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess. I really don't want to root for them. I'll root for Eichel and Evan Rodriguez, though.
Well, for somebody who has covered, college hockey all this past season, I think it was really decided that, at first Eichel was going to Buffalo or wherever he may have landed at number 2. It was a done deal. I think a lot of people thought that after the lottery, that when they picked up Evan Rodriguez, a former teammate of his at this season, that it would still be a done deal. But I'll vote, from what I've noticed covering, with my knowledge of college hockey, he did have a lot of unfinished business. If you just the way he talked, the way he looked, like when he was coming off the ice after they lost the national championship game, you could see that he wanted. It hurt him not to win that national title, especially being so, it being in Boston. Like, everything was there for Boston University.
Perfect.
But I've always had this thought that I think Eichel will come back. I think he's just kind of waiting to see how everything unfolds, which I think is smart. But I believe that Eichel will return. And the reason being is that they have not really lost any of the core guys from last season that weren't lost to graduation, meaning nobody went to the NHL for the most part. They only lost one transfer who really wasn't that big of a player anyways, for the team. But yeah, it kind of hurts to not have somebody there that did play some ice time, but not significantly. But I feel like the junior class that they have with Okerson, O'Regan, Eichel, with Eichel being part of the freshman class that is part of the team, I just feel that with that core group, you have all the pieces when you're only losing 2 or 3 that they could really go win this national title, no problem.
I mean, I think they're going to be a threat no matter what, but like you said, I mean, Jack Eichel's been different from all the big-time players we've seen. Massachusetts kid, grew up a BU fan, and whether he'll admit it or not, he probably doesn't like the Sabres. And I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back either. And if he does, watch out, because they'd have to be the front runner for the title.
Guaranteed. Well, we only got under 3 minutes left, so we're gonna start wrapping it up. So let's do that. A little quick stories. You go first.
Well, I'd like to send my congratulations to everyone like us who have graduated on the South Shore this past few weeks. It's been a long journey, I know, for all of you, and it was certainly a relieving feeling walking out of Rockland Memorial Stadium as a graduate and not having to come back. And a special shout out to the women of the United States. You're making us proud, and we would love to see the Cup come back because us Bruins fans, we haven't gotten much experience with the Cup recently, and it doesn't look like it's coming back anytime soon. So we'll take the World Cup instead for now.
Yeah, and I wanted to kind of stole the words out of my mouth. I wanted to wish the U.S. Women's National Team good luck. I hope that you guys win the World Cup. I think it would be great for not only just the USA soccer, but for the nation as a whole, for sports as a whole. It would be great for women's soccer players everywhere who have had, always had to deal with it being not as good as the boys. But honestly, I think if the women's team and men's national team would play each other, that'd be one hell of a game. And I think, just maybe, the women's national team might win. So
different game, Brian. Totally different game.
I don't know. We'd have to see. Let's try to get that thing. We'll work on that. So
it's
go
our
USA.
Sports Access. We'll have the scoop.
Yes.
We'll have that.
I got you. So, thank you guys again for checking us out. Check us out on Twitter at InsiderSports1, on Facebook at facebook.com/InsiderSportsAccess. Sorry, I forgot about that. InsiderSportsAccess.net has all of our content that we have uploaded every day. Just revamped the site, actually. Totally different look. It's awesome. Definitely check out our shows. We'll be back at it soon. And, thank you again very much. We're happy to be back.
It's great. Definitely. McLoughlin 22, is that right?
Yes, that's
right.
right.
And then me at Stuart 41. We'll be happy to answer any questions you have. And go USA.